emotions this morning, because if I'd have been here, Love Lane, 30 seconds, 40 seconds sooner, I'd have seen an almost unique train spotter sight. A class 47813, if there's any of you nerds out there, you can look that one up. And it was hauling a class 20 in rail freight livery. Now I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I don't think they're in service anymore. So I don't know, maybe it was on its way to a preserve line or something, maybe it was being delivered. Don't know. And I'm out here so I can't research anything. I just missed it by seconds, it would come along there, just as I rode up there on my bike. Always been an ambition of mine to see something unusual going up and down here, because it's not a line where you get a lot of unusual activity, which is a great segue into what I want to talk to you about today, courtesy of Martin Goodwin. Thank you, Martin. Good morning. Ambition, he said, he contacted me yesterday, he said that might be a good idea, a subject to talk about, ambition. So I will, because it reminded me of a funny to me, funny story. I'll recount you the story in a minute. But yeah, I went to, I might have told you this before, but I went to a public school as a boy. Wellington School, Somerset. And this is Dominus Frustra. Oh, that's where I went. As a boy, my mum decided I was not going to be a Courtfields boy. I was going to go to Wellington and have an education and be something. She had ambitions for me. I had other ideas, and that's a different story. I didn't stay there till the end of my education, because A, we ran out of money. It costs a lot of money going in places. And B, we all moved away from Somerset and went to London to live. That's another long story, which I probably won't share publicly. So, by the time I was 14 and a bit, 15, I'd pretty much had any ambition bashed out of me. And if you was, or if you are, or if you have been, a Terry Pratchett reader, Discworld, you would know about a character called Rincewind. Rincewind the Wizard from Unseen University. Now, Rincewind was an unfortunate character who was most famous for running away. And he didn't really have ambitions. He wanted to be a wizard and it went wrong for him. Wanted to be something and it went wrong for him. A magical accident. Well, I look back on my life there and I think sometimes I'm like Rincewind. My life hasn't been punctuated with notions of success or lists of things that I've accomplished, goals that I've scored and achieved. It's not really been like that for me. But it's been more of a case of landing, like Rincewind, always just the right side of an unfortunate event. Although there always seems to be something chasing me, hurting me, damaging me, I'm always one step ahead. When I look back, I've always been one step ahead of the bad stuff. It's always there nipping at my heels, but I'm always one step ahead. I never really had ambitions to be a train driver. I mean, it was a notion I had as a boy, but I had no idea how you go about it. I had ambitions, sort of, or plans were made for me. When you, so I was going to tell you, Wellington School, you go to them schools, you come out of there, you're either a captain of industry, or you go off to Sandhurst, or whatever, the Naval Academy, or the Air Force, and be one of their officers. None of your grunts come out of Wellington as far as I remember. We had people like Mr. Suchet. You heard of Hercule Poirot? The bloke that was made famous for playing him. Wellington School. And Mr. Floyd. Floyd on food. Keith Floyd. God rest him. Yeah, he's another old Wellingtonian. See, they push this ambition on you. And it's probably why I push so hard against. I don't know. I don't know, I'm not going to get maudlin about it. I've had a jolly nice time, and there's a jolly nice time still to be had. I'm not upset. Like I said, I'm like Rincewind. Always one step ahead of the bad stuff. So the story of the ambition, why it was a funny story to me as soon as Martin mentioned it. I worked for a company called Clifford and Snell. I did. And Clifford and Snell, if you've ever worked on a railway or been in old 1950s and 60s southern units, multiple units in the cab, you'll see they had a louder phone thing on the side there, beside the window, and it was a silver grey box, and that was what you, shall I start that again? And you pushed the buttons, one button pushed a buzzer that rung in the other cab, and the other button opened a communication channel, a basic two-way microphone communication device. Well, they were made by Clifford and Snell. Amongst a lot of other stuff, they made relays for power stations and those sort of things. Well, I got a job working for them making the relays, and eventually moved on to doing the Yode alarms. That's level crossings, and you get those alarms going before the gates go down. That's the Clifford and Snell Yode alarm. Well, it was. I'm going back to the 80s, mind you. That's who had that, who was making those. So I worked for them, and what you do there, it's like a production line, making these relays. You get the basic bit come along to you from the previous line, and then you put the blades and the little PTFE spacers in, whatever design you're working on. So you sit next to people. We had ashtrays, Clifford and Snell ashtrays. They made their own, forged their own ashtrays. I wish I'd still kept mine. I kept it when I left. Kept it for years, but it's gone over the mist of time. But yes, we had ashtrays. You could smoke at the desk. Used to go and get wages on a Friday dinner time. They paid you Friday dinner. You'd go to the pub Friday dinner, come back a little bit elephants in the afternoon. As long as you didn't break nothing, nobody minded. Anyway, there was a bloke next to me, used to work next to me, called Michael Dwinfor. And in a sort of, he had a nickname. He had really tight afro hair, Michael Dwinfor. He was an African fella, born here, born in London, but an African family. And he had really tight afro hair. So his nickname was Woollyhead, see? And it weren't a racist dig or nothing like that. He took it quite, you know, he accepted it as a name. We all had nicknames and such. It was South London. We always took the mickey out of each other. Nothing personal to the boy. And anyway, Michael Dwinfor, he was astounded one day. We got onto the subject of ambition, and he said, "Well, you don't want to be here the rest of your life, do you?" I said, "What are you talking about? Pays a wage, doesn't it?" I was getting a decent little wage, you know. All right, I was still living at home with my mum and dad. 20 years old. I'd moved on from sort of £30 a week. That was my first job, by the way. My first job. I got 16 pence a week more than dole money. Yeah, 16p. When you worked, well, sorry, when you didn't work back then, you got £27.50 a week dole. And I worked after £30 a week, and after my stoppages, £27.66 I took home. Okay? 16p a week more than dole money for a 40-hour week in a factory making stuff. How about that for a game of onions, eh? So I moved on from that job. I moved on to a couple of different jobs. Like I said earlier, like Rincewind. I never really planned anything. I just ran away from the bad stuff and ended up somewhere better. Sort of by chance, if you like. Anyway, so Michael Dwinfor, yeah, he was astounded. Have you got no ambition? And it was the way that he said it. And the other side was a lad from Poland. We weren't from Poland, his parents were Polish. I think his dad was in the Royal Air Force back in the day. Richard Podwysotsky. And Richard Pod and Woollyhead spent half a day, I suppose, teasing me. He's bored at the workplace, he's got nothing to do except take the mickey out of each other. And they spent half the day teasing me Because I said, I've got no ambition. No, none at all. And I didn't have. Proper didn't have. It weren't until about a year after that, they both left. They'd gone on, they had their ambitions. I think Richard Pod was selling computer stuff, I think, and I don't know what Woody had went on and done. But they left. People come and went from that place quite a lot. I was one of the long-standing employees for over 3 years there. But anyway, my time came eventually. Something happened. Another rinse-wind event. And off I was gone. Like a rat out of an aqueduct. And I went off. I had a motorbike. And, well, I didn't actually have a motorbike. I sort of pinched my dad's, really. And went dispatch riding in London. I did. Done that for a while. And, had quite a bad accident. Broke my leg when I was 21. Not long after, well, a couple of months after my birthday, 21. Passed my test. Passed my test on a Monday. Had my eyes on a bike, an SR 500. I don't know if you know what that is. To me, that was the perfect dizzy bike. Kickstart, single cylinder. Nothing can go wrong with it. Ooh, hang on, I think we've got a train coming, boys and girls. We'll see. I'll just get myself in the right position to film it if it comes. So yeah, I got this bike on the Saturday. Rode it Saturday. Went to Box Hill Sunday, up to Rikers. Do you know Rikers at Box Hill there? If you don't, look it up. It's still about. And yeah, there is. It's a class 66. I don't know what one yet. Same standard thing that comes through every morning, really. But I'll film this, and then I'll show you the rest of my story. 66616. Now see, I said earlier, wasn't it, a couple of weeks ago, I'm always saying it, freight boys, always give you a cheery pop, usually anyway. So yeah, it's funny that a train's come along because it's jogged my memory back, put me back on track again with what I was saying. I broke my leg, and situation I was living in then, the person I was sharing my life with then, was quite upset about me going back to dizzying again. Didn't want me to die on a motorbike at work. So it was Manchester that I was in. I was on my way to Manchester when I broke my leg. Altrincham. That was the hospital I stayed in. Altrincham General. Ooh. Anyway, we move on. And just like the rinse-wind thing, that was the bad event, you see. And I got one step in front of it. It was, as soon as I was able to walk again, it was a few months before I could walk again properly. And one of my mates, who had been one of my mates just since after leaving school actually, he's had a job on British Rail. At East Croydon Station there, working on the platforms. Easy money, he said. Easy money. You walk about the place telling people off, pick up a bit of litter. All right, you've got to clean the toilet out. But it's easy money. Come and have a go, Ted. So he told me to go to the 3rd floor of Southern House in Croydon and ask for a bloke called Mick Turner. So me being me, didn't bother investigating it no further. I just went. See? Oh, another one coming. Have a look here, look. Ha. Well, I never did. That's 3 trains in the one little visit up to Love Lane. I am an happy boy. Yeah, so I went up to Southern House, and I got the old receptionist. Can I help you? I said, I've come to see Mick Turner. As if I was like a relative or something, you see. So I went up the 3rd floor, and each person, can I help you? Yeah, Mick Turner. Mick Turner's office. Where's Mick Turner's office? And I ended up being shown into this room where they were having interviews, and everybody else in this room had filled in forms, completed tests and passed them, And this was, as it happened, the final selection interview to become a train driver. I went in there thinking I was going to be a toilet cleaner or a platform boy or whatever. And I wound up, this bloke came in, didn't know who I was. But I suppose because of the way I held myself, my deportment, my confidence maybe, I don't know. But he didn't get security and throw me out. He said, you have to fill these forms in. And I did. And they are. I had to spend that day. It was the first day of something they called the train crew concept. They were taking these people on. They weren't going to be called British Rail anymore. They were going to be called Network South East. 1987, January 1987 they took me on. And that was the first day of this train crew concept. Where you could be employed at the back ringing the bells, your campanology, ringing the bells. Or as a guard, that is. Or you could be up the front driving. Now the unions were dead against it at the time. I knew none of this. But that was it. That's how I got my job on British Rail. Network South East. Or not work South East, as we called it quite a lot. Because a lot of it didn't work. But yeah, I've never right needed ambition. I've always just got on with it. And now, as it happens, I'm going to have to get on with it. Because this little fella, where's he gone? Where's he gone? Where's my fidget? There he is. There he is. Hello, boy. And there's me missus. There, look. Ha ha. So you all have a nice day. Don't worry about ambition. Stuff happens. I'll see you later. Ta-da.